EasyCater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
EasyCater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about EasyCater or start an order at easycater.com.
Now that the game is done, it's our time to check in.
Ahead to Giannis. Giannis rumbling the other way, and he's doing more damage on the rim. Taking it out on that rim as he hammers it home with a left hand.
Bucks Talk starts now.
The Oklahoma City Thunder continue their rampage through the NBA with what is going to go down as another 20-point victory tonight here at Fiserv Forum.
And now, live from Fiserv Forum, here's Justin Garcia.
Well, you knew it was going to be a tough one tonight, even with players out for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is what they do, and we saw that. This team now 36-5 against every team but the San Antonio Spurs in the league this season. They are the reigning NBA champions. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning league's most valuable player. And we got a very good glimpse as to why on both fronts. If you have not seen much of the Thunder this season, you knew you have to protect the basketball. And you have to play with pace and play with a purpose against this Thunder team. And the Bucks, right out of the gates, did not do that the first couple of minutes of this game. And things just started to snowball and get away from them rather quickly in a 20-point home loss. Back-to-back losses on the home floor by 20 or more points for only the fifth time in the history of this franchise, the near 60-year history of the Milwaukee Bucks. 5 times that we've seen this type of output here with back-to-back losses at home of 20 points or more. 855-616-1620 is the Siding Unlimited talk and text line. If you want to join us tonight, this morning, on Bucks Talk, is again starting to build something and moving towards a win streak continues to evade this group. And we are well beyond the midpoint of the season. We are rapidly approaching 50 games. And before you know it, we're going to be at 2/3 of the way through the season. By the time you get to the All-Star break, that is basically 2/3 of the way through the season. And there are still many challenges on this schedule between now and then. You have, I believe, 4 games remaining on your schedule, 5 games remaining between now and the All-Star break against teams with a losing record. But Chicago Bulls are one of those teams. And right now they're just a game below 500. So they may not be in that group. You've still got a lot of challenges. The Celtics, the 76ers, 2 games against the Magic, 1 more game against this Thunder team. The Denver Nuggets on Friday night. It could really start to slip away from you if you don't grab hold of the rope and start to piece together consistent play. 855-616-1620 is the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us. A disappointing night here inside of Fiserv Forum as the Bucks once again slide down to 7 games below 500. Back with more after this on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
Since 1957, we've been making great pizzas. The recipe's the same, the dough's made daily like it's always been. The fresh veggies are cut daily, and the quality control remains as high as it's ever been. We gotta keep it high, because we know when you can count on consistency, that it keeps you coming back. So how about Marty's Pizza tonight?
Remember, Marty's Pizza. Marty's Pizza.
Do you remember when times were good? Well, they're good again. It's as good today as it was in the past. It doesn't get any better than that.
Remember, Marty's Pizza.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with him. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me. Not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling that from your agent, that's a problem. And I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who will tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting WTMJ.com/contests.
That's WTMJ.com/contests.
At Advent, we help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine by getting your nose and throat working with our unique Advent approach that you won't find elsewhere.
AdventNose.com. Welcome back to Bucks Talk.
$122 to 102. The final score tonight. Oklahoma City takes down the Bucks by 20 points. 19 points from Giannis. It was a tough one for him for most of the night. And look, it's an uphill battle to begin with if you don't have a consistent secondary score. It's not to say it's impossible. We've seen other teams shorthanded. This Thunder team was shorthanded. You still have the reigning MVP, and this is an incredibly deep team. We mentioned on the broadcast they have lost the fourth most games in the league to injury. Players out of the lineup, I should say, in that front. Not actual losing the contest, but just games lost for a player to injury. They're a deep team. They can keep rolling even without Jay Williams, Jay Dub, both of them. Alex Caruso you did not see tonight. You can go up and down the list. Aaron Wiggins out of this one too. They had a number of guys out. They still had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They still had Chet Holmgren. They still had Lou Dort. Isaiah Hartenstein didn't play in this one, but they're a deep team. This is not the team that you want to go against and say, well, we got this one guy that can score a lot of points. We don't know who the other one is. We don't know who consistently is going to carry some of that water and keep the scoreboard moving because of how challenging they can make things on the defensive end. The Bucks had issues all night long getting the entry pass into Giannis because of what the Thunder defense is able to do. It is a very quick, a very aggressive defense as well. They read passing lanes as well as any team we've seen in recent years. And it was a nightmare for the Bucks to get anything going inside the paint, where you did hit a relatively high volume of threes at 16 of them, but you had to almost solely rely on outside shooting because this is what the Thunder do. They take away everything in the paint. And when you say that, you oftentimes think about shots at the rim and in the restricted area. It's not just that and around the basket. They take away everything from basically the free throw line on, because of how good their perimeter defense is, to just collapse and shut that down and force you to kick things outside. And for the Bucks, that was a problem tonight with some of the lineups they had and some of the players that were out of this game, too. Didn't have another shot creator and another ball handler and guy to initiate things in Kevin Porter Jr. Didn't have the outside shooting of Miles Turner and the threat to at least help space the floor there. It became a mess offensively against the Thunder team that has done that to quite a few teams this season. 855-616-1620 is the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. Let's head to the phone lines and check in with Bob in Menasha. You're up first.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I'm starting not to watch them anymore, but just listen on radio. It's less painful. You know what I mean? But
no,
anyway,
well, no, I
don't think it makes. It's just not as painful when you watch it. It hurts more. Even I don't know where I'm going, but whether it's 3 games at home or 3 games on the road, I don't think it makes any difference anymore, or whether the other team is at full strength or missing 5 ball players, like the team did about a week ago. They just don't have the talent. I mean, the appraisal of the talent beginning of the year, it looked somewhat appealing, but I don't think they were that talented to start with. It was like men against boys against tonight, and I don't know where you go. I mean, to finish 10th would probably even be a little embarrassing, don't you think? You know what I'm getting at? It's tough to watch, and it's embarrassing. And I don't know what they're trying to do defensively. I know it was a good team tonight, but their defensive, no matter who they're playing, it's terrible. And Doc keeps saying the same things over and over and over and over. Perhaps the players are getting tired of that also. I do think it's time to start looking at the total coaching situation, but that's just my opinion. It's just tough to watch. I'll just keep listening on the radio, but play the season out, and maybe something can happen over the summer. But don't make any stupid trades now. Just play with what you have and see what happens. Thanks for being so optimistic, basically, and I do enjoy your post game. Thanks again very much.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Bob. I mean, you're 43 games into the season now, and by the time the trade deadline rolls around, you will have 7 more games played. Actually, let's see. So you'll have 50 games in. Even if you go on a 7-game win streak between now and the trade deadline, you're just at 500, right? You're not like, okay, you're coming out of this. Like, you've gotten to 500. And 500 in the Eastern Conference, I mean, at this point, that is comfortably the 9th seed, right? But we've seen nothing to suggest that you could bank on. It's taking the opponent out of it, too, because you still have, as we noted, the Denver Nuggets, the Sixers on the road, who continue to play very well and are getting Joel Embiid. I don't think we're ever going to see Joel Embiid of old again, but Joel Embiid looking closer to a consistent threat. Continued strong play from the backcourt of VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey. So it's a Sixers team that has played very consistently well all season long. Dallas is starting to play better, even with no Anthony Davis. Cooper Flagg continues to really stand out and show why he was the number 1 overall pick. Guys like Najee Marshall are starting to carve out a role with that group, so they've picked up some nice wins of late. The Washington Wizards, another team you would point to and say, okay, well, maybe still one of those games, piece something together. Then you got the Wizards on the schedule. It's a Wizards team that's already beaten you twice in 3 matchups this season. Then you get the Boston Celtics, who in what was supposed to be a gap year and what many thought, myself included, would be a season that looks like what we're kind of seeing from the Bucks right now. The Celtics have the 2nd best record in the Eastern Conference. It isn't until that week of the trade deadline that you get consecutive games against teams with a losing record. And look, depending on what Chicago does between now and February 3rd, the Bulls may not even be sub 500. So there's that way to look at it. There's also the optimist view to say, well, the Bulls are going to be below 500. Like, we've seen this from the Bulls before as well. It's the same thing we've criticized the Bucks for and said, look, you can't find that consistency. The Bulls will go on a 3-game win streak, 4-game win streak, 6-game win streak earlier in the season. Then they're going to lose 7 in a row. So you could view it that way and say, look, there's a pretty good chance you're looking at a stretch where you're going to play 4 of 5 games against teams with a losing record. Like, do something in that mix. And it's not even win 7 straight games because, again, you don't have a win streak period this season. You haven't done more than back-to-back wins, and you've done that 4 times this season. And in each of those instances, 3 of those 4 instances, I should say, either the Charlotte Hornets or the Washington Wizards were involved. Like, think about that. Haven't won 3 straight games. You've won back-to-back games 4 times. And you needed to play one of those two teams in order to do it. That one outlier was the high point of the season, which was October 30th, right? That is already going to be 3 months ago. Next week, 1 week from Friday, that is 3 months ago that you could say this was the high point of our season. We had back-to-back wins against the New York Knicks and the Golden State Warriors and started the season 4-1. That Warriors game, Ryan Rollins scores 32 points, and that's the, okay, everybody took the Bucks lightly. Look at this nucleus now. Look at what Ryan Rollins is giving you. Look at how Giannis is playing. And that feels like a lifetime ago. Realistically, and we keep having this conversation, but we keep seeing the team come up short of doing this. But realistically, in these 7 games, I mean, we keep talking about the urgency that needs to be met here and how the rest of this season, frankly, needs to be approached with 39 games remaining. You know, when you were 17-24 to start the first 41 games, the quick math of, okay, if you want to get to 500, you got to go 24-17 the rest of the way. Well, now you got to go 23-16 the rest of the way if you want to do that. You're going to have to win 3 straight games. You're going to have to win more than 3 straight games. And the fact that we're approaching 3 months without that happening, that's starting to give you your answer on what this team is. It's reached the point now, to Bob's point of, you know, the trade deadline coming up, 2 weeks away. Realistically, 5-2, right? You got to do something like that to say we can consider being buyers. And there is more chatter of, hey, the Bucks are still looking to buy. They're still looking to surround Giannis and see what they can acquire to bring someone in. I mean, look, if you can find a low-risk addition and find a player that you feel like, okay, this will help us in the short term, and we don't have to give up any long-term assets or any draft picks down the road, fine. You know, try that. I don't know who that player is. I don't know that player exists. But if you're going into the week of the trade deadline, and we're still at this same spot where you've gone, let's say, 2-2 in your next 4 games, and we're talking about a team that's 20-27. That does not paint a picture of confidence to say, look, there's one guy out there that we can get with a 2031 first-round pick. There's this one guy we can get that's available, that teams are willing to trade us, that could be a difference maker, that this team would look at and other teams would look at and say, yeah, we'll do that deal. That's going to help the Bucks, and that's maybe going to secure Giannis' future in Milwaukee. I don't know that trade exists. But a panic trade where you're giving up any future assets at this point, if you are likely to be 5 games or more below 500 at the point of that trade, I just think if you do a pros and cons list on that trade and the way you need to approach this trade deadline, you would see much more in the cons list than on the pro side. 855-616-1620, the Siding Unlimited talk and text line. A 20-point home loss for the Bucks. Second consecutive game they've lost here in Fiserv Forum by 20 or more points. It is hard to believe that has only happened 5 times in team history. What is even harder to believe is when it did not occur. So we'll go through the details of that streak coming up after this on Bucks Talk.
You're listening to Bucks Talk.
Hey, John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. They specialize in caring for those with early to late-stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms, and they offer early memory loss classes to help you. They specialize in this area. It's kindness at the core, locations throughout southeast Wisconsin. It's compassion, it's empathy. It's Wisconsin-based and family-owned, always welcoming people to come tour and welcome their new residents. I've seen their places. They're top-notch. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living.
We demand a lot of our shoulders and hands, our hips and knees, our backs and feet. They do life's heavy lifting, so we owe them the greatest attention in return. The Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network provides expert orthopedic and spine care to help you move, lift, turn, and reach with the most possible ease. Whether you have a sports-related injury or a nagging condition that just won't go away, excellence should always be an option. So we make our care available in nearby locations and offer same-day ortho and spine appointments when relief can't wait. It's how to recover quicker, prevent small concerns from becoming big ones, and solve complex issues with the expertise you can only get with academic medicine. We're given just one body, so let's tend to it, check in on it. Let's give it the greatest of care, because when it's tuned up and injury-free, we can always be pushing ahead. To learn more about our nationally recognized orthopedic and spine care, visit freighter.com/ortho.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is this weekend only inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds. Millions of inventory must be sold. Prices are slashed up to 60% off retail, so save thousands. Save big on new hot tubs, spas, and saunas. Also cold tubs. Plus, see the Michael Phelps Signature Swim Spas by Master Spas.
Hi, I'm Michael Phelps. Join the swimming revolution.
The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show this weekend only inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds. Visit 800spasale.com.
Day after day, year after year, the heavy lifting, the repetitive motion, and now your body feels it. Your back, your knees, your quality of life.
At Access Legal, we stand up for people worn down by work.
Workers' comp is our sole focus, and our team has recovered more than $35 million for Wisconsin workers. From sudden accidents to pain that builds over years of hard work, we're dedicated to fighting for the benefits you're entitled to. If you've been worn down by work, contact Access Legal for a risk-free consultation.
Search AXIS Legal today.
The Round Ball Repartee returns. This is Bucks Talk.
$122-102, our final score here tonight. It's a 20-point loss at home for the Bucks to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now you get set for the Denver Nuggets. Now, the good news for the Bucks, you still got 2 straight games at home after this. And both of those games are going to be against an opponent that will have a rest disadvantage, as the Nuggets are playing tomorrow night. And come to Milwaukee, the Dallas Mavericks play at home on Saturday nights and come to Milwaukee on Sunday. But again, it's beyond sense of urgency picking up here. Like we've had that conversation several times of embracing the moment and finding that sense of urgency for where you are. We talked about that 20 games into the season and 30 games into the season. And before you know it, we'll be at 50 games into the season. We don't know the status of Miles Turner for that game on Friday. It was termed by Doc Rivers as day-to-day, an ankle tweak that he suffered, I believe, in the Hawks game. So he missed the game tonight for that purpose. Kevin Porter Jr. also missed tonight's game with an oblique strain. And Doc Rivers said that he actually suffered the injury a few games back and had just been gutting through it. But he did talk before the game tonight about KPJ's status, and that one does not sound like it's going to be anytime soon for Kevin Porter Jr. to make his return here. Is Doc Rivers' exact words on it were, it's not going to be anytime soon, but there's no update beyond that. Oblique strains, in street clothes, Jeff Stotts, who runs that site and tracks injuries through the years, what the average timetable is for a return. It's all dependent on the guy and the individual situation, of course, but it's typically a couple of weeks for an oblique strain, which, if that is the case with Kevin Porter Jr., that would be another tough blow for this team, coming at a time where they can really ill afford to get that type of news. I mentioned this loss is only the 5th time in team history that the Bucks have now dropped consecutive games on the home floor by 20 or more points. The most surprising part of all of that to me is, I'm in my 40s and remember the Bucks of the 90s and grew up in this area going to the Bradley Center and got old enough to understand basketball and appreciate it and became a basketball fan just after the heyday of those Bucks in the very late 70s through the 80s that were the best team to never blank in the Eastern Conference. Best team to never, reach the NBA Finals. Best team to never do this. I just missed out on that group. The Bucks that I knew were the early 90s Bucks, the Blue Edwards and the Todd Day and Lee Mayberry and Eric Murdoch and Eric Mobley and that group, John Barry. That's who I came to know basketball through. So if you told me the Bucks have lost back-to-back games at home by 20 or more points 4 times previously in the history of their franchise, I would tell you, there's a good chance I was at those 8 games. I feel like those all occurred in the 90s, probably the 92 season, somewhere around there. There was none of those instances in the 80s, none of those instances in the 90s. The 4 previous times where the Bucks lost consecutive games at home by 20 or more points were 2016, when the Bucks lost back-to-back games the day after Christmas to the to the Toronto Raptors by 21 points, and then January 4th by 25 points to the San Antonio Spurs. You talk about 2016 Spurs, a team that still had Tim Duncan, a Spurs team that still had Kawhi Leonard. They started a front court of Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard, and LaMarcus Aldridge in that game. That Bucks team was led in scoring by Chris Middleton with 19 points. Giannis was on that team, obviously scoring 11 points. But your starting lineup for the Bucks: Greg Monroe, Giannis, Jabari Parker, Chris Middleton, and Michael Carter-Williams. So that was the last time we saw it. January 4th of 2016 was Game 2. December 26th of 2015 was Game number 1 in that stretch. The time before that, and these were all kind of lumped together in the mid-teens, was 2014 in January. The Bucks lost January 25th to the Hawks by 25. They lost January 27th to the Clippers by 28. And again, a Clippers team in 2014 that had Blake Griffin still playing. J.J. Redick, coach of the Lakers, was on the Clippers that season. Bucks led in scoring in that game by Ersan Ilyasova. We're evoking the name of Ersan Ilyasova. The other time, 2013, where the Bucks lost consecutive games on the home floor by 20 or more points. The time before that was in the 1976 season, but the 2013 season, they lost in December 28th to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then January 7th, so basically the same timeline as the last time this happened, January 27th to the Golden State Warriors. They lose by 21 on a Steph Curry, Klay Thompson team, and that was the Warriors team that started to find something and eventually became something special. And wouldn't you know it, Bucks' leading scorer in that game was once again Ersan Ilyasova. So it's bringing back the feels here for some of these milestones that we're seeing the Bucks check off so far this season, losing by 20 points at home for the second consecutive game. So where do they go from here? We've already touched on that a little bit, but we will take a look at the next opponent, the Denver Nuggets, coming up after this on Bucks Talk.
The Hardwood Homilies continue after this. This is Bucks Talk.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with him. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me. Not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling that from your agent, that's a problem. And I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who'll tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Previously, it has been gently loved. But here, you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Why DIY your frozen pizza toppings when Screamin' Sicilian already went over the top for you? We're talking whole milk mozzarella, heaps of premium meats, a mountain of veggies. Screamin' Sicilian is frozen pizza stacked, no add-ons needed. Mamma mia! Screamin' Sicilian, so loaded with toppings, it's almost cheating. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer section and taste what all the screamin' is about.
This is Bucks Talk.
.122 to 102 final score tonight. It is all Oklahoma City, the Thunder, in a wire-to-wire win over the Bucks. They grabbed their first double-digit lead at about the midpoint of the opening quarter tonight, and they would not look back after that, as the Thunder would never see that lead drop down to single figures afterwards. It was at the 7:22 mark on a Chet Holmgren basket to make it 16-6 from that point forward. For the next basically 41 minutes, the Thunder led this game by double digits. You get the Denver Nuggets coming to Milwaukee next on Friday night. And the last time you faced the Nuggets, they were down 5 of their top 7 rotational players. And you lost. And that was, I think, unquestionably the roughest stretch of the season for the Bucks, where you lost that game on the road against the Nuggets team as decimated as they were. And again, among those 5 names that we talk about being out, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Cam Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas out for that group. They had Aaron Gordon back and Christian Brown back. Everybody else in that group was out. And you drop that game. You get them again on Friday, and we noted it is going to be a rest advantage for the Bucks. But it's also going to be a banged-up Nuggets team once more. Jamal Murray will see what his status is coming out of their game tomorrow. But Jamal Murray has since returned. So barring something unforeseen, or if he is not at the point that he's playing back-to-back games, Jamal Murray you're likely to see on Friday. Now, they are playing the Washington Wizards, and even though the Bucks have struggled with the Wizards, other teams have not. So ideally, if you're the Denver Nuggets, you could run up the margin and get some rest for your guys late in that game. But doesn't sound, as though you don't want to speak in absolutes, doesn't sound, though, that Nikola Jokic is going to be available for that game. As David Adelman talked, I believe, yesterday about the recovery process, not only for Jokic, but a handful of other players that are dealing through injuries, and said his recovery has, quote, been up and down. Stopping short of saying setbacks, but keeping that timeline at late January, maybe early February for Jokic to come back. Cam Johnson also unlikely to play in this game, as he hasn't even gone through contact drills yet. Jonas Valanciunas, will see the timetable that was initially given would lead you to believe he is not going to play in this game. But David Adelman said his recovery has been coming along swifter than we've seen from Nikola Jokic. So who knows? But the point is, there's still some big pieces that Denver is going to be without in this game. Now, in the interim, Aaron Gordon has moved back in the starting lineup, and his minutes restriction is basically gone. Peyton Watson has become a real guy for the Denver Nuggets, and we saw some of that in the game last time. Jaden Pickett, same story. He had some big shots against the Bucks. Tim Hardaway Jr. and Zeke Naji both kind of found themselves once again in this rotation, and these are things that we talked about or have heard Doc Rivers talk about quite a bit, that one of the things you always look to is finding a silver lining in these moments, finding something that ultimately proves to be beneficial and helps you out quite a bit down the road. The Nuggets have unquestionably found that with Peyton Watson, with Jaden Pickett, right? Even with guys like Zeke Naji being reinserted into the rotation and finding moments and ways that they can use it. Bucks are still kind of searching, right? I mean, you're going to hang your hat on. You've got two of the best five-man lineups in the league. The problem for the Bucks for most of this season has been the minutes that Giannis has been off the floor. Things have cratered for this group. And strangely enough, that has not been the issue in the recent games. The Bucks have actually held their own in those non-Giannis minutes. You know, they were plus in the Hawks game. Pete Nance, I'm not going to say Pete Nance was a huge part of it. Pete Nance, maybe that's the silver lining that we talk about finding something. What he's given you now in these, albeit small sample size of 2 games, but he's been an impactful player in those games. The problem is you need more than just we have this five-man lineup, and Pete Nance is doing good things too. That's what Denver has found. That's what other teams, that's what this Oklahoma City Thunder team has found through the years, and that's what has evaded the Bucks so far this season. And one of the biggest reasons why this team sits here 7 games below 500 at 18-25 on the season. So where that record leaves them, the path forward for this group, how it compares to the Atlanta Hawks, we'll dig into that and get you set for Friday night against the Denver Nuggets after this on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes, allergies, cancer. Nothing will keep the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network from pushing Wisconsin ahead. We're constantly raising the bar for medical excellence and providing more ways to receive it, so you have it for all your health needs, big and small. Let's push ahead, and we'll make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
Why do we have so many successful long-term clients that started out with less than half of what they now invest in advertising? How are we able to keep our clients on the air 52 weeks a year with great weekly repetition, in some cases for over 15 years straight? Well, it's because our volume gets us access to rates that business owners can't get on their own. It's because repetition works, our buying style is efficient, and our messages sell. Go to Anderson-Smith.com because we help small business advertisers get better results. The arena we work in is where the rubber meets the road. If we don't get results, we're gone. Because with small business advertisers, any ad dollar spent counts. How many agencies can say they've kept small, locally owned businesses advertising 52 weeks a year for over a decade straight? How many have made shoestring budgets grow by over 1,000%? We can, because we get results. Go to Anderson-Smith.com, hit the Contact Us button, email me, and I'll call you in short order. Because it's time we grew your business.
When you want the best medical attention, you don't just go to anybody, you go to a specialist. The same should be true with your car or truck. I'm Deb Cruz, president of the Auto Dealers Association of Mega Milwaukee. When your vehicle needs service, take it to a specialist, an Adam member new car dealer. Adam dealers use factory warranty parts, the latest diagnostic equipment, and certified manufacturer technicians specially trained on the advanced technology on your vehicle. They have all the latest manufacturer service bulletins and will know if your issue is covered by an existing warranty or if there are any recalls. And despite what you might assume, their prices are as low or even lower than the independent shops, even on routine maintenance and tires. Now, knowing all that, why would you even consider going anywhere other than an Adam member dealer?
For great paying job opportunities, visit Adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Welcome back to Bucks Talk.
122-102 final tonight. All Oklahoma City as the Thunder take down the Bucks, send Milwaukee to 18-25 on the season now. And the Atlanta Hawks won tonight as well. So you got to within a half game of the Hawks. Second half, a different story than the first half, but you were still able to grind out that win. And look, you knew it was an uphill climb to take down this Thunder team with or without the players that they were missing. But you still entered play today with a chance to say, look, if things break our way, if we can find one of those wins and take down the Thunder, if the Hawks lose, we wake up tomorrow and we're in front of Atlanta now in the Eastern Conference standings as the 10 seed, and more importantly, 2 games in front of them in the loss column. The Hawks came back to beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and you lose. So you are tied in the loss column, but you have 3 fewer wins than the Atlanta Hawks do. So you're a game and a half now back of Atlanta. Now, we talked a bit about this schedule that the Bucks have in front of them and the caliber of opponents that are sitting there for them. Atlanta doesn't have an easy shot at it either. So for the Atlanta Hawks, their next game is Friday at home against the Phoenix Suns team that has been one of the more pleasant surprises in the league this season. Then they do have the Indiana Pacers a couple of times on the schedule, but they have on the road in Boston against the Celtics, the Houston Rockets, another game with the Pacers on the road in Miami, Charlotte Hornets, 12th in the East, but a frisky, challenging team. They've got them twice. And the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road. That is their schedule leading into the All-Star break. That is 10 games between now and the break. For the Bucks, we talked about these next 2 on the homestand. You've got 11 games between now and the All-Star break. You realistically need to win 3 more games than Atlanta does to have a good feeling about where you're going. Right? If that means the Bucks can get to 7-4 and Atlanta gets to 4-6, perfect. That's going to pull you even in the standings. It's going to put you in front of them in the loss column. But that's the type of run you're going to have to go on. It is possible with the schedule for both teams, but it's going to take a lot of work from this Bucks team. And more importantly, it's going to take consistency, which we have yet to see all season long. Right? The last time we really saw consistency was the first 5 games of the season when you started 4-1 and when you saw your high point of the season. And, we're 3 months in, and we're still saying the high point of the season was games 4 and 5 when you beat the Knicks and you beat the Golden State Warriors without Giannis. 3 months now that we're approaching, looking for something to top that. So can you get something started on Friday? It's another late night tip-off. Bucks and the Denver Nuggets, 8:30 tip here inside of Fiserv Forum. 8 o'clock is when our pregame coverage begins on these stations. And as always, be sure to stick around after the game for Bucks Talk. We'll talk with you once again Friday night.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services.